Guys, welcome back to another video. And today we'll be reacting to space. I really like space. I love it. I think it's very cool. So this video is about NASA discovered a planet that defies all logic. So let's get right into it. First, I'm gonna like this video because I already know it's gonna be good. Oh, and I love this guy, so.
Planet is pretty amazing. It's the only one in over 5,000 discovered planets we know for sure has life. But in this infinite expanding universe, have you ever wondered if there was something, I don't know, better? Well, it turns out there's a candy world, a diamond world, and all manner of other unbelievable places out.
So there's a diamond world? Dang, you would probably be gone in like months, like about only 3 months, because you would probably be mining it. But Candyland sounds more fun. I wonder if they would have Hershey's on it.
So prepare for liftoff. We're taking an intergalactic cruise around some newly discovered planets so unbelievable they seem to defy logic itself. A galaxy far, far away. So what makes a planet suitable for us to live on? Well, most importantly, it needs to support liquid water, or we'd be shriveled up space raisins. Now, many planets orbit a star. Mars is the sun, but a planet can only support liquid water if it's a certain distance away from its star. Too close and any water will evaporate from the heat. Too far and it'll freeze. The sweet spot in between these two extremes, however, is known as the habitable zone. Because stars vary massively in intensity, the distance of the habitable zone can differ wildly from system to system. Comprende? Good. One such planet that lands right in the sweet spot is K2-18b. I hope it goes without saying that we can't get this close to these planets to take photos. Most, if not all, visuals we have are artists' impressions from the data we've obtained. Anyways, this exoplanet, meaning a planet orbiting a star outside our solar system, was discovered by NASA in 2015. Unbelievably, it's more than twice the size of Earth, and is the first planet we found with water vapor in its atmosphere. That means K2-18b could support human life.
Dang.
So what are we waiting for? Let's go check it out, right? Ah, that's the tricky part.
You can't.
K2-18b orbits a star in the constellation Leo, a staggering 124 light years away from Earth.
It's too far.
Let's put that in perspective. Light travels 186,000 miles in a single second, and a light year is how far it travels in an entire year. So, can you imagine how insanely far away 124 light years is? Well, you don't have to. Astonishingly, it's over 729 trillion miles. Hypothetically, a one-way ticket to K2-18b on board our fastest space shuttle, Discovery, which travels around 5 miles a second, is still going to take you an unbelievable 4.5 million years. And that's without fire stops. Our earliest ancestors split from monkeys around 5 million years ago. So it would take about as long for us to reach K2-18b as it's taken a bunch of chimpanzees to master space travel. In theory, any humans that arrived would resemble us about as much as we humans resemble chimps.
Sorry guys, bruh. Ads are
Dang,
bad.
that's wild. Space is freaking huge. Here's me thinking the walk from my couch to the fridge feels too long.
Dang. That's so true.
Now you know how far away planets can be, you're probably wondering how the heck we find them in the first place, right? Well, the most popular way is the transit method. Scientists select a specific cluster of stars to observe over a period of time. If one of the stars dims, it could mean an orbiting planet is passing over it. The stars are trillions of miles away, so without a really high-end telescope, you'd never notice anything change. But the best telescopes can give us loads of data about a planet's size, orbit, and even atmosphere. Even so, some planets are so far away we know very little about them, like Kepler 442b. This planet was discovered in 2015, and at a literally astronomical 1,206 light years
My
away,
goodness.
none of our telescopes are capable of getting a good view. What we do know, however, is astounding. Kepler 442b is bigger than Earth, and might even be better. What? Well, it's in that habitable zone I told you about, so it could have liquid water, but that's not all. It's also highly likely to be rocky, meaning it could look like Earth too. Here's where it gets really special though. Its sun is about 40% smaller than our own, which means it burns much slower. So whilst our sun is expected to last about 10 billion years, Kepler 442b's could last between 18 and 34 billion years. In other words, there's a planet out there just like Earth, but with twice the longevity. Damn. The problem is it's so far away we can't tell what makes up its atmosphere, if anything. And that's a really big deal. On the one hand, it could be like the Bahamas all year every year. On the other hand, it could be minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit and smell like rotten eggs. So whilst it's currently considered more habitable than Earth, that's only on the few metrics we can actually measure. There's so much we don't know.
Guys. So, there's more suns. And suns are considered stars, but they're like bigger stars. So, yeah, you would think that this would not be habitable because there's no sun, right? Well, there's more than one sun because we have our own solar system. They probably have their own. So, who knows if space ends or not? But there is more than one sun, so probably billions of them out there.
Would make Kepler 442 be an absolute hellhole. I guess all we can do is wait. Or I could show you the other cool planets I found. First, you've got to hit those like and subscribe buttons to ride this spaceship, though. Intergalactic travel ain't cheap, and I've got fuel bills. In return, I'll keep you up to date with all my out-of-this-world content. Welcome aboard, Space Ranger. Blasting off in 10, 9. Who's got time to count? Candyland.
Here we go, bruh.
So finding a nearby Earth-like planet anytime soon isn't looking too hot. But who needs them? They're way better planets I'd want to live on. In 2017, scientists discovered WASP-107b, which they saliva-inducingly nicknamed the Candy Planet. Are you taking Reese's Piece? Forget liquid water, I want to see a Willy Wonka planet with a chocolate river. Sadly, this small step for man is nothing more than a giant milk dud. It's only called Candy Planet because it has a similar density to cotton candy. Aw, bummer. But
dang it,
that's
man.
still pretty wild. Despite being as big as Jupiter, WASP-107b is a tenth of its mass, making it super light for its size. In fact, over 85% of its total mass is gas. Now, this in and of itself
What
isn't
kind of
too
gas,
crazy,
though?
until you realize Jupiter is almost entirely made of gas, too. So how the heck is Candyland so much lighter? Well, it's to do with its core. Jupiter has a solid core that's 25 times the mass of Earth's, meaning it generates a wild amount of gravitational force. The greater the mass of a planet, the greater its gravitational force. This force pulls gases into Jupiter's atmosphere, which makes up the majority of the planet. Scientists used to think a planet's core had to be at least 10 times the mass of Earth's to be capable of this, until they found WASP-107b. Indeed, WASP-107b's core is just 4 times the mass of Earth's, so it should generate much less force than Jupiter and gather less gas. And yet,
That's
the
crazy.
2 planets are the same size. So how is this possible? Well, scientists reckon the planet must have originally formed far away from its star, where temperatures are colder. In colder temperatures, gas accumulates faster, so gradually WASP-107b became bigger and bigger, despite the low mass of its core. Then at some point, a nearby planet interfered with its orbit, pulling it closer to its current star where it is today. For now, though, this is only a theory. It's cool, sure, but I'm still holding out for Wonka World. A light snack. All this traveling around the universe has my stomach rumbling. Funnily enough, though, there's a planet with an appetite just like mine. Except instead of glugging down 12 cans of wieners, WASP-12b devours 94% of the light that enters its atmosphere. Wait, it eats light? You bet. See, WASP-12b, which was first discovered in 2008, is a hot Jupiter, a term for a giant gaseous planet that orbits very close to its parent star. In fact, it orbits so close that the star's gravitational force is warping the planet into an egg shape. Huh? Yep. The star is pulling
That's
the
weird.
planet so intensely that it's literally stretching out. This close orbit also means WASP 12b gets pretty toasty, like 4,700 degrees Fahrenheit toasty. Phew! Most hot Jupiters reflect about 40% of light, but WASP 12b is so hot that hydrogen molecules in its atmosphere are broken down into atomic hydrogen. This is the fuel that makes stars burn, causing WASP 12b to have an atmosphere less akin to a planet and more like a small star. Jeepers. Scientists believe this insane reaction is why practically no light reflects from the surface. Whilst light doesn't reflect, though, the incredible heat on the planet's surface does mean it emits an eerie, molten red glow. But it doesn't just
imagine living on that planet.
So
You would
intense that
burn
it's
to death.
boiling off the gaseous atmosphere of the planet, stripping it away to spill out into space.
It's that close.
Whoa. I guess that's just what you get for munching up all the light. Nice to see karma still operates in the wider universe. Sign of the tides. Remember earlier I said habitable zones can be vastly different to one another? Well, in 2007, scientists discovered a planet called Gliese 581c, which has been
What's with the numbers?
despite being just 6.8 million miles from its nearest star. Alright, that still seems pretty far, but it's much closer than the 93 million miles we are from our sun. Though that's not what makes it so interesting. Gliese 581c is tidally locked, meaning the planet doesn't spin. One side always faces towards its star, whilst the other always faces away. So if you stood on the inward-facing side, the
That's the
scorching
moon.
heat would burn so hot you'd be melted in a matter of seconds. Ouch! And the other facing side is so cold you'd be solid ice in no time. But right in the middle, there's a strip of land neither too hot nor too cold, and instead, just right for life to potentially exist on. It's the outer space equivalent of
That's
Baby Bear's
weird.
Porridge. The peculiar discovery got scientists wondering if anything of note could exist in that strip. For all we know, it could be harboring an entire civilization.
That's probably why
So back in
why
2008,
a planet has to spin to be able to live on.
581c is 20 light years away, or 118 trillion miles. It's not expected to arrive until 2029. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Let's not forget, in 2008, we were all Twilight obsessed and still wore these. Ugh. If I was an advanced civilization living there and received that message, that'd leave us on scene. Boy, hot to handle. My birthday is my favorite time of year. I just wish it came around more often. Waiting 365 days for more presents feels so unfair. But if I
Sure.
lived on Toy 849b, an exoplanet discovered in 2020, I'd have a much shorter
2020?
wait. It completes a full orbit of its host star, which takes 1 year on Earth, in as little as 18 hours. Whoa. Sounds great, right? Not quite. A year this short isn't exactly cake all around. It can only complete this orbit because it's incredibly close to its parent star. So close that its surface temperatures reach a sweltering 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, lots of birthdays, but you're the candles. And the heat isn't the only pitfall. This place is
This guy's funny.
humongous. Over 3 times the size of Earth, the gravity from such a large planet like this should draw in an abundance of gas. But the sun is so close that its intense radiation has stripped all of it away, leaving Toy 849b with practically no atmosphere. All that's left is one big, rocky, hellish core. So technically it's the biggest rocky planet we've ever discovered, but it wasn't always that way. So
Y'all realize that the closer the planet is to its sun, the more hotter the planet is. And if it's too close to the sun, it will
That's not true
have no life. It wouldn't be livable, and no like grass or anything.
It's composed of not one, not two,
And
but
if
3
its
stars all
planet
in a row.
like Neptune was too
It's like
far,
this. 5A and 5B both
then it,
orbit each other every 29 years.
it's too far from the
5C is
sun,
bound to both
so
B
even
and B
it would
for
just be
much
too
larger
cold.
orbit of every
You would
4
freeze to
years.
death.
Pretty cool, right? Well, as
Like
if this bowl of stellar
hypothermia.
spaghetti wasn't confusing enough, an exoplanet about half the size of Saturn called Koi 5AB was confirmed in 2021, and it orbits star 5A every 5 days. Phew. All this does mean, however, that if you stood on Koi 5AB and looked up, you'd see 3 suns in the sky.
3 suns?
That's not all. Koi 5AB also has an irregular orbit. What's that? Hear me out. Planets form from big clouds of swirling dust that collide and stick together over time. These clouds are gathered by the gravity of a star. As they swirl round and round, they form an orbit around the star, which you'd expect the fully formed planet to continue on, right? I mean, if you're going that way already, why change? Well, Koi 5AB did change. It skewed inwards about 50 degrees. Scientists think at some point during the planet's formation, the gravitational force around Koi 5B
Is it going over the sun?
off its natural orbit around Koi 5A and sent it on its inward spiral.
Wait, that's going over the sun.
Oh, mother. I'm getting dizzy just watching it. It's a small world. I'm not one to hold grudges, live and let live and all that, but I'm still not over the fact Pluto isn't a planet anymore. I don't care how small it is. Size doesn't matter, alright? Right?
I don't know.
So, this one here goes out to all my short gangs. Kepler 37b was found in 2013, and in case you haven't
That's the
guessed it,
moon.
it's the smallest planet ever discovered. Okay,
The planets?
it's not quite that small, but it's about a third as large as Earth, or roughly the same size as the moon. So what would life be like on the smallest planet in the known universe? Well, pretty miserable. Scientists believe it's solid and rocky, so you could stand on it, but the lack of atmosphere combined with surface temperatures that reach a flesh-frying 800 degrees Fahrenheit.
800 degrees Fahrenheit?
Potential holiday destinations. Who knows though? Maybe there's loads more tiny planets out there.
Even 100 degrees in the summer's enough for me.
Just harder to spot than the big ones.
Jesus.
I'd love having my own planet, then I could declare war on my competitor channel's planets and become supreme leader of YouTube. Super Saturn. Forget aliens.
Wait, that's
You know
weird.
what I find the biggest space mystery? Saturn's rings. What's going on there? Well,
It's
Saturn
a-
has
it's a
incredibly powerful gravitational pull, strong
asteroid
enough to repel
field.
comets and asteroids before they can reach the planet, which is exactly what's happened over and over.
Yeah, but how does it like
Eventually, the
stop?
particles and dust created from all this destruction came to circle around Saturn, held by its gravity in the form of individual rings. Cool. So, why doesn't Earth have rings too? Well, scientists believe once upon a time it might have done, but over millions of years they fused together to create the moon. In fact, at the time this video was released, there's
Actually?
only one planet outside our solar system that has rings like Saturn. Discovered in 2012, the catchily named
That's when I was born.
J1407b, a planet in the Centaurus constellation some 434 light years away, makes Saturn's ring look like a bowl of Cheerios. At a jaw-dropping 56 million miles wide, they're 640 times bigger than Saturn's. That means if J1407b swapped places,
Yeah, well,
with
where's
Saturn,
the
just being
planet?
able to see the rings from Earth, they take up the entire sky. Jeez. But our pal J14 probably won't have these rings forever. It's a sprightly 16 million years old, very young for a planet. So over time, the rings will probably morph into moons rather than sticking around long-term like Saturn's.
No way that's actually how they make those.
Looks like our solar system has the real Lord of the Rings after all.
That's wild.
Freezing hot. You might have
Freezing
noticed that a
hot.
lot of these planets tend to be on the warmer side. That's because the transit method, the way of finding planets, has most success with ones that orbit close to their sun. Those that don't are less likely to pass between the star we're observing and our observation point. But in 2004, scientists discovered a frozen planet just 33 light years away in the constellation Leo called Gliese 436b. This isn't just any old frozen ice sphere, though. Scientists were flabbergasted to find it harbors smoldering surface temperatures of 822 degrees Fahrenheit. Hold up. Hot ice? Is this a trick? Ice melts if it's any warmer than a measly 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So what's
There
going
must
on?
be a lot of water
Well,
on
that
that
may be true
planet.
for Earth and our atmosphere, but different planets play by different rules. It turns out Gliese 436b's atmosphere exerts extreme pressure down on the planet. This causes liquid water to compress into something similar to ice, only much denser. So dense, in fact, that it transforms into a heat-resistant state we didn't even realize was possible. Goes to show how nutty some planets are. But I'm not rushing to call Gliese 436b home anytime soon. Carrot Planet.
Yes,
We all know
sir.
how coveted and expensive diamonds are. But did you know that back in 2004, scientists discovered a planet just 40 light years away called 55 Cancri E? They originally thought that could be made of the precious gemstones? Damn, who left all that shiny, shiny alien booty there? Well, no one. 55 Cancri E formed naturally.
Hey, yo, type in the comments if you think aliens are
It
real.
doesn't actually look like a map for Tiffany's. It was originally believed that 55 Cancri, the star the diamond planet orbits, contains large quantities of carbon. Therefore, it's probable that 55 Cancri E...
And there has to be, like, pressure
surrounding
on,
space dust
like,
as
pressure and
stars,
minerals
but
to
also
create a
has
diamond.
carbon. Now on Earth, carbon atoms that are put under high heat and pressure bond together and crystallize into diamonds. 55 Cancri E is subjected to just such high pressures and temperatures because it's in super close proximity to its host star. So it was theorized that these conditions would cause diamonds to form across the planet's surface.
I would travel to
Still
that
with
planet
me?
and get me
Good.
some.
In 2013, however, further tests were
That
done
must be
that
so
revealed
expensive.
miscalculations in the diamond planet proposal. It turns out the host star's carbon levels aren't actually as high as we first thought. Oh no. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the same for the planet itself, but our evidence is now shaky at best. Guess I'm gonna have to take my search for untold riches to another corner of the universe.
Dang it.
Ruby Rain. Luckily for me, I don't have to look too far to find that new wealthy corner. Okay, by not far, I still mean around 1,000 light years, so it's pretty far, but you know, figuratively. In 2008, scientists discovered a new planet in the Cygnus constellation they've named P7b. It's tidally locked and orbits incredibly close to its star, resulting in one of the strangest atmospheres I've ever seen. The side facing in towards its star is red hot, but the outer side is cool enough that clouds of corundum form there. Clouds of what? Corundum is a mineral that crystallizes into rubies and sapphires. On Earth, temperatures never get hot enough for it to vaporize and form clouds, but on Hat P7b, they sure do. The corundum heats up and vaporizes on the hot side, and strong winds blow it over to the cooler side where it condenses to form clouds, which could then rain down upon the surface.
That is so
You've
weird.
heard of it raining cats and dogs, but you've probably never heard of it raining gemstones. If you're interested in seeing this totally unique shower, though, you'll need
This is
an
weird.
umbrella. And as the first weather system we've been able to detect outside our own solar system, those powerful winds aren't to be underestimated. Yep, unless you're planning
It
on
actually
getting
has
slapped
a weather
across the face
system,
with a
that's
satellite
crazy.
anytime soon, that's a hell of a
Yeah, but if you went on that planet, you would literally get crushed by flipping
check out for
gemstones.
a pulse.
Like, they would probably be very
Every
sharp.
star in the 100 billion stars in the Milky Way is believed to have at least one planet orbiting it. It's nice to know they've all got a homie, but some host star to planet relationships have surprising consequences. Take PSR J1719-1438b, which I'm just going to call 1438b from now on. The planet was first discovered in 2011, and its orbits something called a pulsar. In basic terms, these are incredibly dense and compact stars. Despite being only 11 miles wide, about the size of Washington, D.C., a single teaspoon of matter from the pulsar orbited by 1438b would weigh 1 billion tons on Earth. That's immense. And its crazy mass means the pulsar exerts a tremendous amount of gravitational force on its planet. It's a whopping 4,000 light years away, though, so you'd imagine something so tiny would be impossible to see from Earth, right? Well, that's the really cool thing about pulsars. Their magnetic field can be over 1 trillion times stronger than ours, which makes them spin super fast and emit beams of light from their magnetic poles. But because the poles don't align with the rotational axis, the light wobbles, causing it to sweep across our line of sight at regular intervals. By timing these intervals, we figured out that 1438b's pulsar spins roughly 10,000 times a minute. Crikey. So what does that mean for
crazy.
1438b? Well, the extensive force exerted on it by the pulsar means it orbits so close to it that the entire system would fit inside the diameter of the sun. Indeed, it takes just over 2 hours for it to complete a single revolution. But that's not all. Just like its pulsar, 1438b is also incredibly dense. It's roughly the same mass as Jupiter, but only about 40% of the size. This has led scientists to guess that once upon a time, 1438b might have been a star itself. However, the powerful gravity from the pulsar stripped its outer layers of hydrogen and helium and crystallized the remaining carbon, making it super dense. This means 1438b could be a giant dead star 3,000 times bigger than the star it orbits. Gadzooks! Space is so cool. I need to lie down after that. Shower of shards.
I think this is the last
Climate can
one.
be pretty crazy. We get hurricanes, hailstones, and all kinds of other meteorological horrors. I don't think I've ever heard of a planet with weather quite like HD 1897773b. Discovered in 2005, this gassy planet has a peculiar atmosphere with a high density of silicate particles, a mix of silicone and oxygen that make the whole place a bright azure color. Ooh, pretty. But like all beautiful things, get too close and it'll hurt ya. Temperatures reach blistering heights of over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, turning the silicate into glass, which then rains down onto the planet's surface. Ouch! Hold up, it gets worse. Wind speeds can reach up to 5,400 miles per hour, which whips the glass around the planet at 7 times the speed of sound. That means if this storm happened on Earth, a single shard would fly around the entire equator in just 5.5 hours. So if you were unlucky enough to get stranded on HD 1897773b, you'd look like Swiss cheese in about 2 minutes. Now cheese. I'm never gonna complain about a cold snap ever again. Sweet galaxies. That's the end of the video. After all that traveling, I need to stretch my legs. Which of those celestial space spheres were your favorite? Let me know in the comments down.
Hey, Ty, which one was your favorite? I'm gonna end it there, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video. Space is cool. It really is. It's the coolest thing. See y'all.